Hello, and welcome to Fast2Learn English, the fastest and easiest way to learn spoken English. In just a few minutes, you could be well on your way to learning English 4 times faster than with traditional methods. We're going to go through everything from your introduction right through to your guaranteed fluency. But first of all, a few questions. Number 1. Why do you think it is that some students struggle to learn to speak English whilst others seem to be able to speak it very easily? Question number 2. How much do you think the average student spends on learning English every year? We're going to answer those and more questions right now. Let's get to it. Hi, allow me to explain the Callum method and how it works and why it's the most effective way to learn spoken English. First, let's deal with the issue of pronunciation. This is you trying to memorize as many new words as possible to speak more fluently. Most students don't speak when they learn new words, but it's the most important thing to do. Just because we know a word does not mean that we can say the word. Why? The brain needs to do more than just recall a word in order to use it. We have to teach the brain how to use the muscles that are needed to pronounce the word. Often, these muscles will have never been used before. Let me give you an example. I might imagine that I'm a fantastic runner, but if I have never used my legs to run, I might look more like this. I might think that I'm a master martial arts expert, but in reality, Speaking is no different. If you don't use the muscles, then the word will come out wrong. In order to be a successful speaker, we are going to need our ears to listen and our muscles to pronounce. This is why we allow the student to speak 80% of the time in the Callum method. If you're in a school or a class where the teacher is speaking more than you are, then get out and get out fast. Okay, point number 2. When you learn a new word, it's placed into passive vocabulary. This is not a good thing. Think of passive vocabulary as like a zip file on the front of your computer. The information can't be immediately accessed. It can only be directly requested for. However, we want our information to be placed into a standard folder where your brain can reference and use the information when it's needed. So how do we do this? First, we have to make a sentence. This creates some sort of curiosity. It makes the brain want to understand the sentence. So this is also what I like to call brain glue. Then we need to understand the sentence. This creates useful information. The brain doesn't remember useless information. This useless information goes straight into the zip file. Once the information is in your folder, we use it again so that it can become active vocabulary. This is vocabulary that's immediately accessible. All the items that are on your desktop, you just need to quickly click on and they're there. Okay, our next point is a common belief that you must unlearn things. It's a ridiculous belief. You can't unlearn things. You can't unlearn anything. You can't unlearn your accent. You can't unlearn your pronunciation mistakes. You can't unlearn your grammar mistakes. But this is not as bad as it sounds. All we are saying is that we need you to stop trying to unlearn things. If I told you that in order to learn English, you needed to unlearn your native language, you would think I was crazy. Let's try forgetting something now, shall we? So, for example, if I tell you to stop thinking about ice cream, will it work? Let's try. Stop thinking about ice cream. Did it work? The Callum method takes a different approach to this problem. We want you to learn new things so that you can use them instead of the old things that you used to learn to speak. So the first thing we need to do differently is to allow the student to speak most of the time. The second correction is also one of our top priorities. This is actually correction. You need a teacher there in order to correct you. You need to be corrected accurately on grammar, pronunciation, intonation, among other things. Third, we need to repeat the corrected sentence. This is in order for you to get practice in using the correct form in English, and so you get plenty of opportunity to use this new form of speaking rather than the old style of speaking. Fourth, let's revisit the new sentences so that we can put them into active vocabulary. It's often only when we revisit a sentence later on in our studies that we can actually place it into an active vocabulary in our mind. Fifth, make sure that the students can use the new language that they're learning. Success is easy once you have the right tools. Take a second to imagine how it would feel if you could speak English anywhere, anytime, without preparation. Office meetings would go smoothly, with you expressing your ideas and opinions with no hesitation and gaining the respect you deserve. Presentations being done with confidence and style, getting your message across with precision. Friends. Being able to talk with friends and even making new friends is one of the most important things in life. Imagine being able to freely talk to somebody on any topic. Exams. Imagine walking into an English exam room with the same confidence if the exam was being done in your native language. All this and more is waiting for you when you start studying with us at Fast2Learn.org. We guarantee your success in a quarter of the time it would take you with traditional methods. So what are you waiting for? Just click the button below and you could be taking your first steps to English success with me or any of our qualified teachers within minutes. That's not all, guys. I promised you some answers to a few questions at the start of this video. So, question 1. Why do you think it is that some students struggle to speak English while others seem to speak it very easily? Well, the two most important things for a student to be successful at speaking English is they must love the English language. And the second most important thing is that they don't care about making mistakes. The two most important things for students that are unsuccessful with learning to speak English is that they believe the teacher is responsible for all their mistakes. And they try to do everything perfectly first time. This is a big mistake. Don't be afraid of making mistakes, because sometimes mistakes are the best teacher. Question 2. How much does the average student spend on learning English? Well, I'm afraid that there is no real answer to this question. It really depends on where the student is from, how much money they have free to spend, and what they're prepared to spend for the English language, and how much they value the English language. If you value the English language a lot, then you don't care how much you spend on learning. But we can say this: to come to England, for example, and study English would cost you approximately about £6,000 per year. That's before flights and before accommodation. Studying online is the new, cheaper way to be successful at studying English. It's the future. Let me give you a quick example. If a student wanted to study English, and perhaps he comes from a place where his currency doesn't convert well into the English pound, then he will probably spend more money on books rather than English classes, so he can get the fundamentals of English together. It most certainly is possible to study English right up to the advanced level just by using material that's on the internet freely available and on books which are available at a relatively cheap price in any bookstore. However, there does come a stage in your learning experience where you're going to need a teacher. Whether you do that earlier or later will be completely your decision.